What?
Grand Rising, Grand Rising. This is the Straight Talk Morning Show on the Straight Talk Network. I'm Andre Hill, your host, and this morning we got a full panel. We're going to start off with the elders. Wait a minute. I think Mama Kelly and Chairman, who's the oldest?
Well, I'm not 80 yet, but I'm knocking on the door.
Yeah, I'm knocking on the door at 81.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna start the show off with you. How you doing this morning? This rising, Mama Kelly?
Yes, I'm doing very well today. I'm hopeful and I'm encouraged because it's raining, and rain is always a good sign. And of course, it's not cold, so I'm happy about that. And I'm very happy to hear that very soon I'll have some help here. And I'm grateful and thankful.
Absolutely. So to those listeners that understand that we are making moves, Mama Kelly's property right outside of Atlanta, we need a powerful frequency to send to all those governments around her property that this is Aboriginal land and it's going to be preserved for Aboriginal lifestyles, and we want to protect it, and we want it exempt from the United States codes and specifications. So we're making housing. Mama Kelly's land will be one of the first to take our children out of the matrix. You have somewhere to live, somewhere to develop, somewhere to go USA and take a break from this BS. All right, hey, Chairman, how you doing this morning? And of course, I always want the weather report.
Grand Rising, everyone. I'm doing fine. I feel good because Indian summer's here. We're in the 50s, and it's like late. Usually it comes in December, late November, but it's January. And it's just a good feeling. But hey, I'm doing good. I can't complain, I know the snow is going to come again, but, I hope it holds off, because the sooner we get closer to, springtime, the less I have to worry about that snow.
All right. Well, the chairman is reporting from Detroit, as you know, and Mama Kelly is in Atlanta. Every now and then I forget to name those cities. Also, even though my son is elder here, but Chief Yasan, we want to go ahead and introduce you. He's on the move. Chief Yasan is a powerful influencer, and for his generation, he's bringing all his generation and our generation. People are coming in from all ages. He has a platform that gets people to wake up and get moving. How you doing this morning, Chief?
I'm doing phenomenal, Chief. Thank you so much for that powerful introduction. I always get speechless, when I get introduced, because it's powerful energy and frequency that gets sent my way. So thank you, truly. And I'm glad to be here. I'm happy. The sun is shining. Like you said, waves of people are coming, and it's because we are leading with honesty, truth, and freedom. So as long as we keep on moving in this direction, I'm excited to be here and amongst this council of wisdom, experience, and knowledge. So thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Hey, man. Hey, so without further ado, our chief of Juris Doctor, he tells me I'm saying it wrong, but anyway, he's the chief attorney for the Aboriginal nations, and he's working with several other Juris Doctors all over the nation that's going to be helping you with your land, with your nationality or status correction, all of those. I'll let him tell you. Go ahead, man. How you doing?
Hey, Grand Rising family. It's a pleasure and honor to rock with the elders this morning and my brother Chief Yasan. But yeah, what we're offering is just the remedy. Now, I'll say this. I hope I don't mess up the sales pitch on this, but the nationality documents, the trust documents, the Aboriginal business setup. Yes, we can do all of that for you. But the question is why? Why are we doing these things? And the very simple answer is because we know that we all want to be free. We want to be able to live as freely and self-sustainable over here on our own land as much as we deserve to do. Right. That's the real bottom line of it. I tell everybody that who comes to me for any kind of service that, over here, you are as a very tight knit and family oriented tribe. We don't get into nickel and diming each other too much for money. We always assisting one another as much as we possibly can, just on the strength of we know that if everybody is at their highest strength, then we don't have any, or we have minimal weak links. Right. We got minimal weak links. So yeah, just reach out to us at www.uaarnation.org. That way you can get a hold of any one of us on the panel, one way or the other, right? One way or the other. We've got a lot of the tribe, and shout out to them too, who are helping out on the administrative end. They got ways to get you in, filter what your purpose, your interests are, and so you can get in where you fit in with the tribe. Because we know what y'all want to do, family. Y'all just sick of this jazz out here over here in Trump land. I know we know y'all sick of it. So come on over here to Life Row where you are in the 22 I'm a C. Yeah, and yeah, the weather's nice too. I may be going to the beach later on, not to be bragging and that.
Okay, so we got some exciting topics as usual. We're dealing with current events every day, and we're giving our interpretation on how we see things to help our people navigate through all this craziness. But the topics today are star seeds. If you have a star seed in your family, and they're known as the black sheep people, they're the ones that you don't agree with. A lot of folks are just now getting out of the church system, and the star seed's been telling you for a long time that these religions is about control and enslavement. But these are the ones that's giving you life. The star seeds, when you speak to the star seed in your family, they give you motivation and they give you inspiration. And I know you may disagree with them or whatever the case might be, but they have a way of giving you this energy that preserves you, whether you agree with them or not. But we're going to talk about that. Also, converting R&B, the R&B frequency from negative to positive. So all over the world, people have accepted and they receive this R&B music from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and it has influenced the whole planet. So now what we need, our young musicians that were raised up, and especially up in Detroit, Chairman, where Motown originated, where that frequency originated out of Motown. Well, it originated in the churches, but it got organized in Motown. But we need to shift that frequency to a positive thought. So we're going to talk about that and how to have that effect. Also, are Caucasians biological robots that just keep sticking to this program, and not understanding the consequences of their actions? We got to examine that one, so we can understand how to assist them in their spiritual journey, because it's this is crazy. They keep wanting to go steal people's stuff. What's that all about? And also, there was a video, and I don't think I got it to my son in time though, but I'm gonna demonstrate how the souls keep losing its privilege all the way down to an animal. This animal just broke out of his kennel, broke out the building where the kennel was. He unlatched the lock. That had to be, that soul had to have a human experience to know how to go unlock a door and leave the building. So we're gonna talk about that and kick it off. So what I'm gonna do in terms of is when we start off talking about the star seeds, we want to let everybody chime in on their experience, because everybody on this panel is a star seed and they have family members. But what the family members don't realize, even though they're arguing with them, or don't believe in them, or if one of us, if we're talking about aliens, we've been talking about aliens most of our lives. Our family members, you crazy, but the star seeds in your families have been keeping you alive. Mama Kelly, I know you are a supreme star seed. Have you noticed that the family members that you keep in touch with, you keep them alive?
Muted.
Hold on, Mama Kelly.
Hold on. You got to start. Yeah, you got to start that over again.
Unmute yourself. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Now, would you repeat the question? I was having a sip of coffee at the time.
Okay, and it was good, huh? So
yeah, I'm just waking up.
So, Mama Kelly, I'm gonna share my experience. We have several members in our family, and I keep in touch with them just to lend my frequency to them, to keep them alive, to keep them in the spot. Even though they don't believe in what I believe in or don't understand where we're coming from, but I believe that we give them life. And I know you've experienced it.
Yeah, of course. That is one of the reasons why people will reach out to you, not just family members, but people in general. Because even though they may feel that, hey, you are a little bit off, it seems as though what your belief system is, maybe a little bit off as far as what the general public sees and understands, but you still, whenever you release that information out into the public, even through people who say they don't believe, they heard it. And so that is what you have to, just rely on, is the fact that the message is in the universe now. And when that time comes for people in your family or your friends or neighbors or whatever, when they wake up, or when that one click happens, they remember what you've been trying to tell them all along. And we're fast approaching that because, as I had said before, and I'm not sure if I was talking to everybody on this program at the time I was saying that, the women born in the African diaspora are the ones who will change the world. Well, it looks like we have some women who are standing up and saying, hey, this is our land. This government is totally corrupt. And removing that artificial veil of protection that they thought they had. So we have people like Chief Warhorse, who's just received her, she's opened up that gate to get her land back down there. She's Choctaw, and she's an elder. I think she's in her 70s, and then there's another one, the Chief Betty, who's in southern Georgia, and she's still on the land. She's outside of Eufaula. I'm sure you guys know about Eufaula. It's probably one of the biggest man-made waterways in America, but it covered many of our villages with water. That lake or chain of lakes in Eufaula. But there is a chief, Chief Betty, very, very, very knowledgeable about our history. And they are standing up publicly, and that's what we are doing too, standing up publicly to say we have the right to this land, we have the blood right to this land, and even the fact that we pay taxes. And we pay taxes on this land. And we have more, but the blood right overrides everything else. And treaties, that was one of the things that they had said, that the treaties are, they will actually, they override the Constitution, especially the treaties that were made prior to the Constitution or even after the Constitution. They are, the treaties have, jurisdiction even over that. And so we have some tribal clan mothers, tribal mothers who are standing up right now. And I'm one of them.
So what we're saying here is, if you have a starseed person in your family, and you feeling down and out, that's the only one you can call up to get you going. Hey, Chairman, have you experienced that at all?
Oh, absolutely. I got a nephew, and he's an ex-Navy SEAL. He spent maybe 10 to 15 years, and he is very universal. We can get together and talk for hours. But I got a lot of relatives now, but the majority of them, they just don't see it that way. Some of them are religious and some of them aren't religious. They don't have any type of belief. I think they don't even believe in themselves. But yeah, he's definitely a star seed. And what Mama Kelly was saying about the females, I wrote in my book, God was a woman. I said it in a facetious way, but there's a lot of validity to that because of the power that women have. And that's why women have been held down for centuries because of that power. Man had the power to, hold her physically down, but mentally he couldn't. And now they're arising to the occasion. You got more females in the universities than you do males, and they're doing a fantastic job. And we just got a female as mayor of the city of Detroit. I live next to Detroit in Southfield, but she's doing a fantastic job. And I know her father. He's a great guy, too. He's a reverend, but he's a down to earth reverend, you know. And yeah, it's some changes are taking place, but we just have to get it together because, strength is in unity. And yes, indeed.
All
I'll
right.
land that plane.
Okay, so once again, it's very critical at this point. Your star seeds are the salvation to your families. If when you're dealing with your immediate families, they're the salvation. Because right now, if you've heavily invested into this Luciferian system and it starts to unravel, you got to fall back on these star seeds. Hey, Chief, your son, are you still in?
I'm still here, Chief.
So Chief, one of the things I know about the energy that you're putting out, people are being attracted. They pick up on your energy field right away. How do you feel that you inspire people in your immediate family and in the networks that you're working with?
Man, that's a great question. It's a great topic. Honestly, just the art of being genuine, right? When I speak, I mean what I say. I don't, and I'm a person full of love, and I travel with a certain frequency, and regardless of the stresses of the world or how, the weight of the world can affect me, that's not nobody else's fault, So when I see you, I'm still gonna smile because I know it's gonna make you smile. I have certain family members who call me, and this is why I travel a lot. The moment I leave one state, a week later, they're like, man, when are you coming back? Every time you leave, stuff start to happen. So now I'm in Florida. I got to handle tribal business and put this energy into our tribe because, the Golden Gates are here. But yeah, that's my take on that.
All right. Hey, Junior, have you picked up on your starseed transmission? Do you feel, or you just get, how is it working with you?
I'm noticing this with my generation that everybody's starting to look at the black sheeps in their family and start wearing the wool as well at this point. You know, it's kind of some levels to it. It's like you got star seeds who grew up in the family usually by themselves as a star seed, but then they start to find other quote unquote black sheep in their family. So now it's all kind of black sheep herds out there now. So all kind of black sheep herds out there now, and what happens is, there's a galvanization, and I like to feel like, right now in this spiritual war, we're on the front line. It doesn't make anybody else who has not come to their own level of awakening any less important. But we do kind of serve as like a beacon of light. You know what I mean? Because we don't, in other words, if you just getting on, the conscious wagon, we ain't gonna be like, aha, I told you so. We ain't gonna treat you like that, right? Just come on in and pick up a stick and get ready to build with us. That's pretty much the message that we are teaching. So saying all of that to say this, I don't want anybody who is realizing what's going on in this world and getting the rose-colored glasses shattered on their face. Don't feel like you're going to be shunned or disrespected for waking up in your own time, because we know that's a part of the process. Everybody wakes up in their own time. It's just, typically star seeds and black sheep, we just actually happy to see that you woke up. Right. And so what happens after that is, we say, all right, now we see you awake in this bed, but it's like, you ain't you're gonna get uncomfortable just tossing and turning around in that bed. Well, now it's time to get up and start cleaning up house around you, because or just simply get out of the house because it's literally burning down around you while you were asleep. So, that's usually the message I put out there as a star seed, as you say.
Well, so one of the reasons that initiated this topic, I was sitting next to a family of a star seed just recently, and they had a slight resentment because they're still investing into the church, trying to maintain. They got to pay for the mortgage, the water bill, and the membership is falling off now. We know this, and so that church system that you've been beholden to, as it unravels, you got to make some choices. A lot of these preachers got it early on, and they just selling the church because they know that they can't go against the Catholic Church and the syllabus that was given by them. And so they just selling the church to these European developers. And one right across the street from where we live, they got the church open for rental, And so you got to make some hard decisions, if you're going to continue with this agenda of these Abrahamic religions, because the people are finding out that the frequency that you've been praying to is ineffective. You still in the black community, we've been gentrified. You got Arabs coming in disrespecting you. And there was a video here locally here in Tampa where one of my classmates went into an Arab store to tell them to remove these sexual objects from out front because kids are coming in here and they're selling sexual toys, And so craziness like that, why do you got to go into an Arab store and complain? Why you don't have your own store, and complain about? So we need to shift completely from doing business with these businesses that were allowed and financed to come into our community, and we need to go into our Aboriginal economic system of exchanging goods and services among ourselves, because they're going to disrespect you. They were given money to come in and set up shop in your community. So dealing back on point, though, you church folks that's still beholden to this Abrahamic religion, you need to look at your property. You need to look at joining the Aboriginal nation. We have Juris Doctors that are studying the best approach to getting that land converted into Aboriginal land or dealing with Aboriginal people. Set them up as storerooms If that Catholic Church, hopefully this kind of show will tell that Catholic Church, you need to back up with your Luciferian agenda and release our people that's been serving your syllabus for a very long time. But it's all about the frequency. If you're praying to the wrong frequency, you're ineffective in helping your children and your community. All right, so we're gonna keep it moving on to R&B. Chairman, you have lived in Detroit most of your life. You've seen the development of R&B through Motown, and you saw the power of that frequency. What do you think will happen if we change the frequency from, especially when the Jews got in and changed the rap game to disrespect our women, to shoot that brother, kill that brother, all the horrible things, and then changing this frequency back to a positive, songs of how we can reclaim our land, how we're gonna come together, like ain't no stopping us now, that kind of frequency. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, okay, that's a good one, because that music today, I can't stand most of it. Even I'm driving my car in the summertime, and you pull up at a light, and a brother got his sound up so loud, you can't even hear your own music in your own car. And it's talking about be this and be that, and be I'm talking about, that's got to be gotten rid of. It's about respect. You got to respect other people's, aura, their space. And with this rap stuff, it might be some good rap out there. I've heard a little bit, but it seemed like the majority of it is just very disrespectful. And somehow we've got to get a hold and educate these young brothers, and some older brothers are into that craziness. But some way we got to educate them and let them know that's not the way. That's not going to get us freedom, because I don't want to be nowhere in that environment when that type of music is being played. And I know that if we come together, we can eliminate it, but it's going to have to be education. It's brother to brother to talk, and the organization that we got, they come to us, and we could school them on what we're trying to do and let them know the negativity of what they're doing. It's very important, very important. Like I say, with the star seed situation, a lot of them don't understand it, but they need to be taught, and then they could spread it, amongst their groups once they learn. But it's got to be taught, and with the Motown, at one time it was thriving so well when they were here in Detroit. But now that they've left, it's still little groups, but it's nothing like back in the day when I was coming up in the high school and out of high school. It was the king. If you said you were from Detroit, they asked you, let me hear you sing something, because there's so many good singers, and you find some of the best singers in the world that were in the churches. But now it's time for a new change, to get that spirit back into the people, but get that negative demonic spirit out. And that disrespect, it's got to go. It's got to go. It's hindering us, you know. And I don't know what part the church can play to help the situation, but I think if the churches join our organization, and it started like a virus, and then they come together under one umbrella, we can be like the United States, have cabinet members, from different areas, but it's all about coming together and, work as a unit to bring these changes and let everybody feel they're a part of it. Not where sometimes you go to some churches and they kick you out, and so how does that play on some of the people that are friends of the people that got kicked out? That creates a problem. So, our churches can do a lot to help out, but in some ways they got to be educated too, because they've been told a bunch of lies for a long time. And yeah, got to face reality. Some things ain't real, like some of the brothers still believe in the flat earth. If you look at my picture and you see planet Earth and the sun and Venus and Jupiter, Mars and the moon. Is the moon round or is it flat? You know, planet Earth is a round planet. You know, the sun is round. Now, it might not be perfectly round because, you know, like on the planet Earth, you got mountains, you got valleys, you got oceans, you know, which are flat. But, you know, it's all a part of recognizing that being educated, knowing that it's round, that we're all here on planet Earth, there's certain things we could do to come together and make this change by the truth. And the truth shall set you free. I'll land that plane.
All right. Hey, Mama Kelly, we're gonna load up this young artist that I just love, and the lyrics comment that are inspirational. And but while Junior's loading this up, you have a comment about that frequency that how music can influence our movement?
Oh, music is everything. Music is the universal language. And that is the reason why we have had such an influence over the world, is because our music actually vibrates to the earth frequencies. And that's who we are. And everybody comes to that because they feel it in their heart and in their soul. So that's why our music has populated all over the world, and people have copied. I mean, everyone has copied our music. But I wanted to make a comment about the Abrahamic religions, and especially the Catholic, well, Christian church. Most people do not realize that all of the churches are under the Vatican, even though the Vatican is a Catholic church. But every other church is also, a arm of the Catholic Church. Okay, so what is happening now? And it wasn't, I guess, universally, it was intended to go this way, but it was not planned to go this way. And what I'm talking about is unraveling of the church, the fundamentalist church, the Zionist church, and it is unraveling like you would never believe it. And the people, the so-called MAGA people, Make America Great Again, and the fundamentalists, it is unraveling because of one Aboriginal sister who doesn't know she's Aboriginal now, but what she has admitted, and she's coming along, she has admitted, that she's a Hebrew Israelite. Well, that is also a Christian religion, but its uh, origin, of course, is in Ethiopia, the original Christian church. Okay, but what's happening because of this thing that happened with the fundamentalist movement, with the murder of the daylight murder of Charlie Kirk, it has opened up the wound of fundamentalist Zionist Christians and just exploded it. And so I don't know which way that's going to go, but what it has shown is that at its core, the fundamentalist Christians, that it's satanic. That it was Army intelligence, what is it they call MK Ultra, um, um, Army intelligence that actually started to teach or to mentor the boy by the name, well, the young man by the name of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated on, what was that, September the 10th? Well, this sister by the name of Candace Owens, she's blowing that wide open and destroying the image. It's something that people really need to know, because you're going to hear something that does not acknowledge that. You're going to hear a whole lot of that, because the Zionists are, they are running scared now, because they're about to be discovered completely, and the realization will wipe out most of their membership, and I believe that to be so. And so I'm very happy to see all of this movement. Look, what they're trying to do is to get those preachers, they think they're going to bring 10,000 more preachers to that the geological place that's called Israel, and to re-indoctrinate them into Zionism, and that is the place. But anybody who knows the Bible knows that Israel is not a geological place. Israel is the name of a people, and that people is us. We are, many of us, the lost tribes of Israel. Okay, so I did want to let you know that Christianity is being dismantled, but they're trying to hold on to that Luciferian so-called religion, because they want to hold on to that power.
Okay, Mama Cal, I want to come back around to that, because that's a critical piece right now. Because what I saw on my family members' face was, you killing our membership. You one of the ones, and that means we got to come out of our retirement to pay for this church and this craziness. So we're gonna come back around and, hey man, can you hit the button? This one, the lyrics with this young lady. This is what I want to encourage our young people that can get the Motown vibe. And you can call up the chairman in Detroit and he'll tell y'all how to do this. But this is the kind of lyrics that we want to hear. Yeah, go ahead.
I said that I'm one of the greatest. I said I wanted to be famous. I am not just a star in the making. It is barriers that I am breaking. A lot of people would rather be aimless. A lot of people keep doing the same shit. In my comments they calling me Satan. I'm already condemned to damnation. Know my voice but they don't know my name. Let the scavengers eat off my plate. Who I am is not up for debate. I don't just float, I skate. Why would I ever conform? My presence is not of the norm. I know that they're scared cause they see a storm. This is not my final form. I am a believer that I open so I can see clearer. Didn't I tell you that I am a god? I am the things that you think I am not. I am a siren, the alarm ringing after the silence. And it's they, them, and I slay them. And by slay them, I mean those dams that'll do anything for clout. Do anything for clout. Bitches is mad, bitches is trash. Oscar the Grouch. I said that I'm one of the greatest. I said that.
All right, so this woman, she's tapped into a different frequency that is much higher than all of these Abrahamic religions, and she's rejecting their ideologies and what have you. Hey, Chief, your son, you got a smile on your face. What do you think about what this sister is projecting?
I love it. I'm actually in the car, so that was bumping on my speakers. That's why I'm like, oh, hold on, yeah. So, I love her frequency. Whenever anybody's coming with that cult-like frequency, you have to reject it. It's not about, forcing your ideologies and beliefs on someone. It's about raising their frequency, and making sure everybody has a spirit of peace along with their discipline. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, all right. So, hey, Junior, this is your generation too, man. Well, you got any suggestions to these young people that want to start making music?
Oh yeah, well, just to shed a little light on the current music industry. So yeah, what you're going to hear on the radio, what you're going to hear on a lot of the major platforms, like like we discussed earlier. Yeah, the Jews started this this rap game in the '90s. They good at perpetuating it now. By this time, we're talking this has been pretty much 30 years since they infiltrated and influenced particular artists at the time in the '90s to develop it into what it is now. But what we do have, it is a little more difficult to find them, but you just have to be diligent on finding them. We have a lot of artists out now that's on that frequency that Nico is, that same sister we just saw singing. It's a lot of artists. I mean, we even have some who are older, which you would call some OGs in the game. And we have some new ones that are coming out too. You just have to find it, right? But yeah, it's not going to be the stuff that's promoted heavily because again, this is kind of a sidetrack, but it's still relative. The FBA movement, the Foundational Black American Movement. I think it started by Tariq Nasheed or coined by him, whatever the case. One of their main agendas is to recapture, own, and control and gatekeep our musical culture, our entertainment culture in general, but which includes our musical culture. And I remember having a conversation with them, as a Aboriginal American. I told them, so I said, the Aboriginal American movement is like the extreme version of the FBA movement. You see what I'm saying? It's like we're going all the way with it. We ain't half stepping. But trying to gatekeep the culture is the issue is always going to be this. We're only going to be able to gatekeep and or control our musical culture up to the threshold of how much of the technology we own and control that is presenting the music. So in other words, if we don't own, control the platforms that all of the music is on, because we can generate it from our soul and ourself, yeah. But how are we going to get it out to the people is the issue. So and until there's a level of collective code that we all stand on, that's one half of it, but the other part of it is we're going to have to invest in those technologies and not be afraid to be independent with what we're doing. In other words, not signing up with Luciferian or demonic agencies that they want to sign you in a forever contract in order to own your name, likeness, soul, everything that you produce for eternity. They literally write that in them contracts. We own your name for forever. I mean, it dawned on me later on. That's why Prince changed his name to the artist, because they own the name Prince forever. Right? So just think about that. And so you just really think about how important the frequency and the effect of music is for a demonic force to want to say, now we have to be able to control this in perpetuity forever. Right? That's how strong it is, because again, we just have to, I always think about this. Because there's a lot of music we produced off of this planet, and it's going out there into the universe. There's literally other civilizations out there and other galaxies who can pick up the frequency and listen to it. And I wonder, what they vibe to. They listen to some Luther Vandross, or they listen to some Jay-Z. You see what I'm saying? But it gives them, like Mama Kelly said, it gives them an idea of what frequency on that is a universal language, because they can fit. That's the language they speak all the time. It's a very keen understanding of frequency. And but for our younger generations, this is the only reason harmful or toxic rap still exists, is because you have those industry agencies who are willing to sign up our babies and dangle money in front of them to promote that. That's it. That's all. That's all that's left. That's it. So yeah, we have to do two things. Of course, we'll have to approach our youth, but like you always say, Pop, what leverage do we have to negotiate with our own youth to say, hey, listen, that ain't gonna be the way. But when they are in a compromising situation. They're feeling that money is the only thing that's going to get them out of that. What do we have to offer that can counter that to them is the question. We do have a solution over here. I'm just speaking in general to the masses. If you are concerned about that type of frequency that that our children are investing in, that level of rap, you got to ask yourself, what other alternative do you have to offer? We have an alternative over here, right? But I'm just speaking to the rest of y'all out there. What other alternative are you offering?
Well, the chairman is in Detroit. He understands how the music business works. As a matter of fact, he's promoting his grandson, who is a master on the piano. I've seen him evolve, from a little top to hitting that, banging that piano. And I'm quite sure that the chairman is not going to allow his grandson to go into these demonic forces just to make a dollar. So we here at AAR just come to us, talk to the chairman, and if you want to become an artist and you want to get involved and without selling your soul, this is the way to come. Go to uaarnation.org, type in, you want to talk to the chairman, and also we have Mama LaBaba from out of New York in theater. So art and music is critical to the development of this tribe because it's the main cohesive that's gonna bring us together. So we're going to jump off into this other topic, and I know Mama Kelly is going to weigh in on this one. I'm going to direct this question to her. This topic is, are Caucasian people biological robots who's lost their privileges of having these beautiful, symmetrically perfect melanated body? Were they created specifically for this Luciferian agenda?
Yes, they were created for this Luciferian agenda. Very often I have spoken to you about the cosmic prophecies of San Francisco, and I have shared some of the short videos that I've done on that. And what was on that wall was the story of how many of the pale people actually came into existence on this planet. You see, and historically, we have been informed without doubt. First of all, Elijah Muhammad, he told us that the people who are here giving us hell, they were created to do just that. And the fact that they do not have a soul because they were created, they did not come from source. And so that is, Elijah Muhammad told us that, Noble Drew Ali told us that, Farrakhan forgot it and turned the people in another direction. But the thing about it is that is what they were created for. And if you want to get an understanding of how these created beings were created and brought to America specifically to own this property, America, the promised land, and because this is the promised land, this is the Holy Land, Turtle Island, this is the Holy Land, and they were created to actually possess the Holy Land. What else would devil want to do besides own the most sacred of land? You see, and so yes, they were created just for this. And we have to understand there's a whole story about that we need to know and understand. Or overstand, understand. People use all those terms, but I come from another generation, okay? And that's what I say. And so, yes, that's who they are, and that's who they are. A
All right.
lot of, not many of them have actually developed that soul, which, well, I don't think you can develop a soul, but even to learn to be more human, many of them have not learned that yet.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Mama Kelly, hey man, can you load up the one with the dog? So Mama Kelly, my deviation from that is that the illusion of hell and heaven, being physical places, I think is injustice to humans that are trying to evolve. I think that souls can lose their privileges. I think having an Aboriginal body is a privilege. And I think that if you continue to do things like going and robbing a whole country, stealing their oil, or murdering, I think I ran across a story about Emmett Till, just how they did that child, because the woman claimed he did something to her, and then on her deathbed, she confessed that she lied. So I think hell is where a soul, if it continues on this path and not respecting the laws of balance, I think it is demoted. And hey man, play this video. Play this video with this dog. All right. So the reason I think that soul was once a human, and the reason I believe that, because think about this: if we were abducted on a hostile spaceship and put into a little enclosed area, it'll be very difficult for us unless we had the experience of what those extraterrestrials technology. But this animal had to have, I mean, now I know they're capable of watching and mimicking, but to put the thought pattern, that soul had to draw on a memory from a previous life to first of all break out of his cage and then go and untwist the lock. You know how difficult it is to twist those locks with fingers, but he did it with his teeth. He had to have a previous understanding of how that worked. So to my Caucasian brothers and sisters, now I know a lot of you love dogs and love them better than you do your fellow Aboriginal humans. But I believe your next step from that Caucasian body is that of an animal. Now, some of you may be comfortable with, well, I'd rather be a dog because you don't have to pay any bills. You don't have to, pay the rent, just sit around, crap, and run out and go, chase female dogs. But I think that is a form of hell. I think all humans need to understand that the Most High has knowledge and capabilities of, or the laws of karma will force your soul into these predicaments if you continue on a downward spiral to darkness and evil. And so, that's the only thing, because, when I looked at what Trump did, he, it just, and it is questionable because, I didn't bring it up on the last show, because they invaded Venezuela on our last show of Saturday. And I think it was within 48 hours of that show. And I said, wait, before I respond to this, let me investigate. Let me look into, what prompted them to go and invade, go kidnap this man. So there were many theories that the Venezuela president, he's in on it, and that was his means of escape because the hammer was coming down. A whole lot of possibilities. One scenario was the demons of this hemisphere, they're going to take over so many countries, and the demons in the hemisphere over in the Pacific, they want to take over certain countries, and the demons over in Asia, they want so many of their countries that they're going to maintain. I'm gonna give a break on Vladimir, because I think what he's doing, he's counteracting demons. I still believe Vladimir is an alien soul that came in on a similar ship that I came in on. So he's working it from a different perspective. But there needs to be some understanding to these Caucasians that your hell is not a place in the ground where you're going to go down there and you butt naked, you're going to run around screwing women and all that kind of thing. Chairman, I know you might have a different view too. What do you think about heaven and hell, or the Venezuela, or this dog?
Well, heaven and hell is a place that we create, you know. And you know my take with the races, because I've got Caucasian, Mongoloid, Hispanic in my family. I lived in Canada for 28 years, and they're just like us. They fight each other, you know, they uh, kill each other, you know, and you're going to protect yourself and you're going to protect your family. But a lot of them have learned their lesson, because I've lived in that environment, but they go through hell just like we do. Now, I grant you, there are some evil ones, you know, I'm not taking that away, because in this life, you're either positive or you're negative. But I've been blessed that I've been around a hell of a lot of positive ones. I have to admit that, you know, I have to, you know, face my own conscience, you know, and look over in Europe with Ukraine and Russia, how they're killing each other, you know, like you got to protect your own. And those people in Ukraine, you know, they're dying mercilessly, but they want to survive, you know. And then if you look at Russia, 50% or more of them don't want to fight, but they're in the military, they got to fight. It's like with in the United States with these the ice team. You got some black ice, you know, but if they go out there, they got to do what their boss tell them to do. Now, until we come together, we could counteract that, but we haven't come together yet. When we come together, a lot of that's going to cease, because everybody wants to be godly except for a devilish person that feel that somebody got something that he don't have and he want to take it by any means necessary. So I'll land that plane.
All right, Mama Kelly, in 60 seconds, we were at the closing hour. Can you give me your final thoughts on what do you think about the Caucasians and what they need to do?
Okay, we have to we have to find our own power. Now, we have to use our own power. We have it. We know we do, because when we make moves, everybody follows us. So we know we have the power, but we don't really acknowledge it and use it for our own purposes. Okay,
Yes.
but I did want to say something about this Venezuela thing. Okay, first of all, you were correct. Uh, they're pretty much dividing the world up into three categories, basically overseen by China, the Asian and the South Asian, South Pacific area, China, Europe, all the way across Russia, with Putin being in charge, and the North and South America, which I'm not sure that all of you understand this thing about the Monroe Doctrine, which of course was that's hands off of the Holy Land, North and South America, hands off. which was implemented, maybe around the turn of the century, the 20th century. But this is what Trump is operating off, is the Monroe Doctrine. Well, they did not change the regime in Venezuela. The elected vice president is in charge. The whole situation was a veil to cover up the fact that what they're after is those offshore banks. Not only the crude oil and the water. They didn't talk about the water down there in Venezuela. On Orinoco, that's the world's most pure water down there. And I didn't hear anybody talk about that. But they talk about the oil. And so this Monroe Doctrine and the fact that there is an agreement, believe me, Putin and the real Trump, not the Mar-a-Lago Trump, and the let me see, Putin, Trump, and Xi, they all are in agreement, although you see information out there claiming that they're fighting. They're not. They're changing the world's power structure so that there isn't just one power like the United States wants. At one point, they were known as the power on on the earth, because they had that petrodollar. But that has been erased by BRICS. And so this whole thing about Venezuela was not about the oil exclusively, and it wasn't about drugs exclusively. It's going after those offshore banks and trusts and things that the deep state have been keeping away from the people. The stolen money, laundered money, drug money, trafficking in children, trafficking in drugs, trafficking in organs. And so this is what that Venezuela thing is to go down after that offshore money. Okay.
All right. So, in my closing statement, I know without a doubt that when the Aboriginal people, when we come together as one collective, it will demonstrate to the guardians of the Most High that we intend to correct this issue. It will demonstrate, and they will intervene. Trump, the Pentagon, there's no country on this planet that has the technology to match up with these guardians from 3i, from the universe. It's like throwing stones at a laser. Their technology is antiquated by design, because the guardians of the Most High knew that they were some crazy nuts in charge. So if you want to make a difference, let's join this collective. Hey, Chief, your son, we need you back over here, man. So we'll pass it on to Junior. Hey, man, what are the benefits for joining our nation, joining a collective? Well, I don't care if you got your own tribe, what have you. The agenda now is coming together, tuning into the frequency. What are the benefits?
No, you just said it right there. You just said it right there. Listen, like I said, I don't like to mess up the sales pitch. It's not a sales pitch, though, right? So when we tell you, about the benefits of getting your nationality, what you're really doing is you are locking arms and tapping into a collective conscious frequency that's in resonance with the Most High. That's really as simple as it get right there, right? That's about as simple as it get. But we're going to do what we need to do in this 3D plane in order to be as harmonious as possible. That's what it boiled down to. Like take me and brother your son, when we working together again. everybody, for one, just trusts us and believe us, and then we show that we are trustable and believable. That's just what we do. All right, we tell everybody, hey, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna move, and we stand on it. We follow through. That's really the bottom line of it. I think everybody who usually comes our way, they already have the right mind frame, right? They have the right mind frame. They are just looking for and or are excited to lock in with some people who think and move like them, right? But on the technical end, you get your nationality, you get all of the education you need, all of the information that you need on how to move as an Aboriginal person of the planet in this current atmosphere, political atmosphere around the planet. Because a lot of people want that information. But like I always tell everybody, we ain't just gonna be no tribal jurisdiction on paper. We ain't gonna do that. We're gonna go get all our land. We're gonna go install our tribal jurisdiction on the land. And most importantly, we're gonna build the infrastructure there so that you can live free as possible. And when I say infrastructure, we're just talking about the basic resources, and we ain't talking about living in no huts. That ain't what we're talking about. We don't do that. We ain't never lived in no huts.
Right.
We've been building since time immemorial. We've been building, all the evidence is out there. But what is the real oil and or gas and or blood of the infrastructure that we're going to build? It's going to be the people. In other words, we have to be there in order to make those houses a home, in order to make that land valuable, suitable. In order for it to do what we want to do, we need to be there and essentially love one another. That's what we're gonna have to do. We're going to love one another, and then that frequency will emit. That frequency will emit out there. Y'all know that old saying: if you build it, they'll come. And we know what kind of energy we have. Everybody who will come will be, they won't come unless they feel the frequency. Right? They won't come unless they feel the frequency. So you ain't got to worry about, now on the other end, I ain't gonna get too deep off into this. We may have some people who try to infiltrate, that's fine, but we ain't worried about that. We done seen this battle 1,000 times. We know how to get around that. We know what to do.
They're gonna die.
Yeah, and we ain't worried about it.
You messing with this, you will die.
We ain't worried about it, right?
That's a promise.
And I'm telling you, like I'll tell everybody myself. Like, on this 3D plane, I'm very military minded. We can handle them on that end. But for the most part, we'll handle everything from the spiritual power first.
Absolutely.
Let everything else fall in place. So family. So in a nutshell, closing out, we about 10 minutes past the hour. Yes, you can come over here, get your tribal screening. You're gonna learn. You're gonna go through your son. You're gonna get your tribal screening. My brother's going to verify your tribal lineage. Well, let's say you're in Aboriginal, autochthonous, indigenous lineage. So at that point, can't nobody tell you you're not who you are at that point. Can't nobody tell you otherwise. And then you're gonna come holler at me, and we will do the nationality process. And essentially what that is saying you are declaring deliberately your right to self-govern with a tribal government of your people. As simple as that. And then we move forward. We again, we don't get into nickel and diamond and scamming our people like that. We don't do that. That's why everybody over here and I tribe work together every day. Every day we got our people harmonizing, collaborating, and working together.
Let's move. Hey, Chief, your son, you got the last word. Tell them how to get in touch with you and what this movement is all about. You got 30 seconds. You're on mute.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Okay. Brother Yasa, can you hear us? Yeah. So there you go. It might not be able to hear us. Brother Yasa, can you hear us?
Okay, all right. Well, we'll bring him in on next week, and we'll follow up with him. He has a powerful station. What he's on TikTok?
Brother Yasa, can you hear us?
So he's on TikTok, right?
Yeah, absolutely. On TikTok
What's his
and Instagram. Don't get me the line out loud. Hold up. Just look up Chief Yasun on Instagram and TikTok.
Right.
For all our family in the chat, everybody who knows this link, put it in the chat for us, please, so we can get the traffic going this way. And so, because he's gonna tell you how to get involved.
Go ahead and close us out, man.
All right, this has been the Straight Talk Network show. I think it's been a good show. As always, we love y'all. Peace out. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.